Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we are literally leasing up our walking shoes for a virtual tour through two of the most historically layered neighborhoods on the planet. I'm talking about Istanbul's Fener and Balat. We're going to unpack the history, the culture, and the actual practicalities of exploring these incredible hillsides.
Think about this for a second. Where else in the world can you find a church made entirely out of cast iron? The spiritual epicenter of the Orthodox Christian world. An untouched Byzantine sanctuary, and alleys just exploding with modern street art, all layered onto a single steep hillside? No way, right? But Fener and Balat hold some of Istanbul's most unusual landmarks. It's this incredible contrasting mix of deep history and vibrant modern culture. And the absolute best part? You can experience the highlights of it all in just one beautifully dense neighborhood walk. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our itinerary for today. 1. Starting at the shore. 2. Climbing the Fener Hill. 3. Art and antique charm. And 4. How to visit respectfully.
Section 1. Starting at the shore. So the absolute showpiece of the Balat waterfront is the Bulgarian St. Stephen Church, which is way more commonly known as the Iron Church, or Sveti Stefan. And the year 1890 is totally key to its mind-blowing origin story. See, this isn't just any stone church. It's a Bulgarian Orthodox church, and it's one of the very few in the entire world made almost completely out of cast iron. Seriously, the whole thing was entirely prefabricated in Vienna in the 1890s.
It was just an incredible logistical journey. After being prefabricated from cast iron in Vienna in 1890, the massive pieces were actually shipped down the Danube River, all the way across the Black Sea, and literally bolted together right there on the shores of the Golden Horn in Istanbul. It's like a giant puzzle. It is an absolute architectural marvel. And the good news for modern visitors is that following a massive, years-long restoration, the Iron Church reopened in 2018, gleaming once again. Entry is completely free, and you'll usually find it open during the day. Now, just a short walk inland from the Iron Church brings us to our next major landmark. We're talking about the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople. This is an incredibly significant location. I mean, it's the seat of the spiritual leader of the world's Orthodox Christians. When you go inside, you'll find the Church of St. George, which holds remarkable relics and features an absolutely stunning, richly gilded interior. Visiting here is free, though you should definitely expect a light security check at the gate. It's a spectacular, actively working religious headquarters. Section 2. Climbing the Fener Hill. Right, so as we start to slowly make our way up the steep inclines of this neighborhood, we come across the Church of St. Mary of the Mongols. But, you might actually hear the locals referring to it by a much more dramatic name, Kanli Kilise. That translates directly to the Church of Blood. This really striking name comes from the fierce fighting that took place right in this exact area way back in 1453. And you absolutely cannot miss it as you climb the hill. Its deep, unmistakable red walls just stand out beautifully against the surrounding streets. But what's really fascinating here is the unique resilience of this building. The Church of St. Mary of the Mongols, or properly called the Church of the Theotokos Paniotissa, is the only Byzantine church in all of Istanbul that has been in continuous Greek Orthodox use. Think about that. It was never converted into a mosque. So how did it survive completely untouched? Well, it was actually protected by a direct decree from Sultan Mehmet II himself. It's just an incredible mini-narrative of historical preservation. As you continue your climb, catching your breath, there is one structure you simply cannot miss: the Phanar Greek Orthodox College. Known in Greek as the Megali Shkoli, locals really just call it the Red School. And you'll see why. It is this huge, imposing red brick building that crowns the Fener Hill, looking almost exactly like a medieval castle, towering over the city. It's actually the oldest surviving Greek Orthodox school in Istanbul. But do keep in mind, it's an active institution with very limited access, so the best way to experience it is to treat it as an exterior landmark. Honestly, climbing the hill just to photograph its towers from the streets below is entirely worth the effort. Now, tucked away slightly off the main paths is the Surp Hresdagabet Armenian church. It's definitely quieter and generally less visited than the Greek and Bulgarian sites we've just covered, but it serves as a beautiful reminder of Fener and Balat's history as a true four-faith neighborhood. It actually holds an annual festival that draws people from several different faiths together. And speaking of that four-faith history, Balat was historically Istanbul's main Jewish quarter, with landmarks like the incredible Ahrida Synagogue.
While the synagogues often require appointments through the chief rabbinate, they are a massive, massive part of the area's diverse fabric.
Section 3. Art and Antique Chart.
Okay, let's pick up the pace a bit because we need to clear up a very common internet misconception right now. A lot of people search for a toy museum in Balat. To be absolutely clear, the famous Istanbul Toy Museum is in Göztepe, which is way over on the Asian side of the city. It is not in Balat. However, what Balat does have, specifically right along Yildirim Caddesi, are rooms full of old toys, vintage cameras, and curiosities tucked inside its wonderful antique shops and vintage cafes. So if you really want that nostalgic itch scratched, skip the museum search and just go browse the antique shops instead. It's a vibe, for sure. And as you wander between these antique shops and historic churches, you're going to encounter Balat's newest landmarks, the street art. Over the last decade or so, the back lanes have just filled up with murals, portraits, and really playful graffiti. You'll find the absolute best of it concentrated around Voting Caddesi and the streets below Ecumenical Caddesi. The artwork here changes all the time, which is totally part of the fun, and it sits perfectly and naturally right alongside the deep historical sites.
Section 4. How to visit respectfully. So let's talk about pacing your day. Because all these sites line up so neatly from the water directly uphill, you can easily experience the main landmarks in a single half-day walk. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, you hit the shore for the Iron Church. Step 2, ascend the hill for the Patriarchate, St. Mary's, and the Red School. And Step 3, wind your way back down through the alleys to enjoy the antiques and the street art. Honestly, it's a completely seamless itinerary.
And that translates into a highly practical cheat sheet. The Iron Church and the Patriarchate are free and super easy to access. St. Mary of the Mongols operates on a donation basis, and, you might actually need to ring the bell for the caretaker. The Red School is exterior only, and the Armenian Church has limited hours, so you should definitely check ahead before making a special trip over there.
Now, to make absolutely sure you don't face any closed doors, let's look at some expert advice. Local guide and historian Elif Demir advises this. Carry a scarf and wear trousers or longer skirt, and you can enter every active church and the Patriarchate without a problem. Mornings are calmest, and the caretaker at St. Mary of the Mongols is far more likely to open up before the afternoon. So just remember, modest dress is expected everywhere here, covered shoulders and knees for everyone.
But what happens if a church looks closed? Well, local writer Lena Avramides offers this really great tip. If a door looks shut, it is worth a gentle knock or a glance for posted hours. Several of Balat's churches open on request rather than on a fixed schedule, and a polite visitor is usually welcomed in. Remember, guys, these aren't ticketed tourist attractions with strict corporate hours. They are real, living community spaces. So, the crucial point is this. You are a guest in living places of worship. The golden rules of respect here are simple but absolutely essential. Keep your voice low. Remember, this isn't a bustling museum. It's a religious headquarters. Always ask before photographing people or the interiors of the churches. If you are allowed to take photos, make absolutely sure your flash is turned off. And lastly, never wander into roped-off areas. A quiet, considered visit is not only better manners, but it guarantees you a far better, more authentic experience.
Think about everything we just covered. We've seen a massive iron church shipped down a river, an untouched Byzantine sanctuary, and alleys covered in modern art. It really leaves us with a fascinating thought. In a city famous worldwide for its massive, imposing monuments, are Istanbul's most incredible multi-layered stories actually hidden away in the quiet, steep hills of its everyday neighborhoods? Well, Fener and Balat certainly make a very strong case for it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.